So if you're setting up a business and you want to serve clients all around Canada, do you need to set up your business as a federal corporation? I think there's a misunderstanding around this, and that's why I wanted to make a video on it, because sometimes people think that in order to have a national business in Canada with clients in all different provinces or multiple different provinces, that it must be set up as a federal corporation, and that's just not true. You don't need to incorporate at all, and it doesn't need to be a federal corporation in order to serve clients around the country and even around the world. It's fine to, have clients in Ontario if you live in British Columbia, even as a sole proprietorship. So I don't want people to think that they need a federal corporation just to do that, because again, that's not the case. Having your business registered in just one province as a sole proprietorship, a partnership, or a corporation doesn't prevent you from only serving customers and clients in that province. And now this depends on the nature of the business, the industry, and where you're actually conducting business in terms of how this all works. But let's just say, for example, if you have a Manitoba corporation, can you serve clients in Saskatchewan and Alberta? The answer is yes. In some cases, though, you might need to do what's called an extra-provincial registration of your corporation in those provinces, and each province has different rules when it comes to that. The main reason you would need to actually do an extra-provincial corporation is if you're actually physically in another province and setting up there. Like if you start in Manitoba and then you expand and you have a retail store, an office in Saskatchewan, then that's a really clear indicator that you should extra-provincially incorporate into Saskatchewan. But if you're based in Manitoba and you have some type of business where you're just doing web design, or you're like me, you're doing consulting and you're staying in your office in Manitoba, you're not even traveling there, you're not setting up there, you don't have any representatives there, you're working from your main office, then typically you don't need to register your business or extra-provincially register your corporation. And again, every province has different rules when it comes to this. So maybe in some provinces, if you're just physically going there for certain projects, even though you're not like relocating or expanding there or setting up an office there, and even if you don't have like employees stationed there, you're just kind of coming and going for certain projects where you're physically there. In some cases, you might have to do that registration, but again, it depends on the province. But so especially for those businesses that can work with clients and customers, all around Canada and all around the world without having to open another office or have employees in those other provinces, then rarely would you actually need to do that extra-provincial corporation registration or register your business in other provinces. So like for example, with myself doing business management consulting, I mostly just work with businesses in Saskatchewan, but I can work with businesses around Canada, and I don't have to get a municipal business license in these other cities or register my business with their provincial corporate registry, because I'm doing all my work from Saskatchewan. I'm not traveling there. I don't have property there. I'm not even advertising there. So there is kind of a spectrum there. And again, it depends on the province. But maybe the most important thing to be aware of in this situation is that if you do have customers and clients in different provinces, other than the one that you're based in, then be aware of the different sales taxes. So GST, HST, PST, every province has a different setup. Some provinces don't have GST and PST. They have it combined as HST. And then other provinces have GST and then their local PST. And then other provinces don't have PST or HST, they just have GST. And this is important to be aware of, because you charge your clients the appropriate sales tax based on where they are, not based on where you are. So if you're an Ontario business, you're set up in Ontario as a corporation, and you have lots of clients in Manitoba and BC, typically it's okay. You don't have to do an extra-provincial registration of your corporation, especially if you're, staying in Ontario and, just kind of working remotely with those clients. But you do want to make sure that you're charging the appropriate sales tax, not HST, because those other provinces, like Ontario, do not have HST. They have GST and PST, or just GST, again, depending on the province. So hopefully that clears things up. Again, you do not have to set up a federal corporation in order to do business around Canada and serve clients around Canada. You can just have a sole proprietorship business registered in one province and be able to serve the whole world if you want to. Just be aware of different jurisdictions, different rules about when you actually do need to do an extra jurisdictional or extra provincial registration of your business. So hopefully this video was useful and not too confusing. I know it can be a bit of a complicated topic, but if you enjoyed the video, please click like, and feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel here, where I currently have over 265 videos that talk about business management and business startup topics.